Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you acquire. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you acquire. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. While we're getting everything ready, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Live YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/filmmyrun and also Twitter at filmmyrun, and the website is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax, don't forget to drop me a ride on and watch me do all the hard work.
Go, yeah? Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Are we live? Okay. Hello everybody, welcome to the Shed Quarters Takeover. I'm here in Worthing, UK, in the Stephen Cousins Shed Quarters, along with hashtag Screens for Victoria, hashtag Wheelchair for Victoria. Hope everybody's doing well. So I thought we would start today maybe at 10.6, 10.7, kind of get good. 20,000 kilometers on Zwift. Who has that, me? Oh yeah, I guess I do. Thank you. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm monitoring the chat on YouTube, not on Facebook, of course. We don't do that anymore. And so you can reach out on YouTube, Zwift Companion app. I don't know how to use the voice to text, so maybe I can try that. Have you got it on your phone? No, but I don't need it. It's fine. We'll be okay. Hope everybody's doing well. Current temperature check in the Shed Quarters is 31 degrees Celsius. That strikes me as a little warm. Sarah Jacobson, hello. I hope you're doing well. Nikki, how are you? Tina Beard, lovely. Good to see you. Paul Hayward. Stephen Cousins is on here as well.
Hi,
Victoria made an appearance. There's a water bottle situation.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Try this one. The hole where the water comes out, that's where I drink from?
Yeah.
That work? Delicious. Where do I... Oh, then the water thing?
It should be.
Yeah, there we go. I gotta say, this shed quarters is fantastic. It's like seeing how the sausage is made, but in a very good way. I got all the technology right in front of me. It's great.
Hello, everyone. Right, I'm going to struggle to get a word in edgeways today, aren't I? You know it. Hello, Yoko. Hello, Kim Salt. Hello, Paul Hayward. Hello, Tina Beard. Sebastian is in the room. Running Forest is in the room. Sarah Jacobson is there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Film My Run. Welcome to a first, because we realised we've never had a guest in shed quarters, apart from my wife, who we don't consider a guest anymore. She basically runs the show these days. So Marcus is here, all the way from Richmond, Virginia. He's had a week or so in London, working hard, and now it's relaxation time. But there's one big question that we all have to ask. What the heck is going on with this Zwift vest and the tag?
Yeah. Okay, so when Steven invited me over here for this inaugural event, I thought I should buy myself a nice Zwift singlet, like he has. I admire it very much. And so I went on the Zwift website, and they only had the women's version in extra large. So I thought that might work. That might actually work. So I ordered it, and the problem is that the cut on the women's singlet is just not all that flattering. And so I tried it on. You could see a lot of armpit hair, etc. I didn't love it. So it looks okay with like a shirt underneath it, but it's not great kind of on its own. So now the question is, I thought I could give it to Victoria, but now that I'm sweating through this, she probably won't want it. Or do I just try to return it? After that might also be a little dicey. So I think maybe it's just for me. Marcus has joined the women's extra large top group. Yeah, when I'm not on camera, I think I'll be able to wear this just fine. But, you know, it's not that great for the optics. Put it that way. Steve, it's a little warm in here, Steven. Very cold. Who won the women's Wimbledon final? Did anybody catch that? I was on the train, so I didn't get to see it.
It was one set off.
Okay. I think I'm going to put a hat on. Sweaty.
Marcus, in terms of how far ahead are you and I from everyone else? Should we slow down and let...
We are about 30... Well, if this is accurate, I'm 34 seconds ahead of you.
Shall we slow down and let them run with the gang?
I think we should. I got a little ahead of myself here. All right, I'm going to slow down to like 9.7 for the time being. Will that work?
We are going to slow down to catch up with the group.
I wanted to make this a 3-hour meetup, but Steven, I think, rightly pointed out that it's a little warm today.
Two tops though.
I have 2 tops. This is good heat training. This is good for bad water. I was explaining to Steven earlier today that I'm signed up for the Ben Nevis Ultra Marathon, and I am incredibly nervous about it. I don't think the heat training is going to help me with that one. Although maybe there could be a heat wave or something. So can they hear you when you talk?
No.
Oh.
They can only hear you.
So that's very annoying for you guys because it's a one-sided conversation. Steven was saying that he had a heat wave the first year he ran Ben Nevis. Sarah Jacobson spent the last week running hills of Seattle. My flat trained Chicago legs did not do well. Yeah, I feel that. I did see that on Strava. Sarah, that you're up in the Pacific Northwest. You know, this is tricky. You have to read these comments very quickly. I empathize with you. Sebastian, does it look good on you? Sebastian evidently has the same women's top that I do. Question I have for Sebastian is, does it look any good? Yeah, Steven, it's time to invest in a second microphone. I agree. Hashtag microphone for Steven. You're falling up. I'm still ahead of everybody. Like quite a bit, actually. Do I need to slow down even more?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna slow this. We'll do 9 for now. See how that works out. Part of the issue is my Zwift is in miles per hour, but the treadmill is in kph.
Very peace with everyone, because I do not have a screen.
Yeah, I really think we need to get that GoFundMe going for the screens. This is quite ridiculous. We've had this problem now for over a year. Actually, since the beginning. We need to rectify this.
Where am I? Right. And am I already a minute behind? Oh no. I'm just behind Paul Hayward.
You're just behind Paul Hayward.
Okay. Paul Hayward.
Paul Hayward is at 10:43 miles per mile. That's a mile.
Okay.
You're the same. You're the same. Yeah. And I'm going that pace as well, actually. This is adorable, this shed quarters. I love this. I want to build one of these.
Right. Tina, no, Kim Salt.
Oh, so Kim Salt noticed that there's a spelling error in the title. Kim, you know what? I noticed that as well, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to disappoint Steven. He did such a nice job setting this up. I didn't want the minor spelling error to get in the way. It's quasi-embarrassing. It's not really embarrassing. Where is Victoria, by the way? Is she going to come say hello? I hope so. Even though he's smart. So, I don't know how many of you have been to Worthing before, but I just got here a couple hours ago, and I find it incredibly delightful. You got the ocean, the beach, these lovely houses, but then, like a mile inland, you have these wonderful hills and trails. It's really a nice kind of runner's paradise out here, Steven. Okay, he fixed the title, he tells me. That's good. Should we bump up the incline a little bit?
No.
Steven reacted very poorly to that notion.
Who?
You want to say hi to your people?
Okay, now, see, when it comes to times like this, I realise how bad it is for Victoria. Because when somebody else has the microphone and is able to talk, the person who doesn't have the microphone cannot get a word in edgeways and has no recourse. I can't see where I am on the course because I'm looking at the chat, and so although I'm on Apple TV, I'm not looking at my Zwift screen, so I have no idea where I am. And also I can't see who is running with us. But I think if I lean over, I can see Julia Foster. I can see Julia Foster. I can see Sarah Jacobson, Stefan Gross is in there, Clive Finnemore, Tina Beard, Ferris is there, Paul Hayward. What did she say?
Well, man.
Steve. You know me, Sarah. Kim Salt says maybe you should just get Victoria a screen. Victoria says Stephen is getting frustrated because he can't see his avatar and he can't get a word in edgeways, and then there's the laughing emoji. Yeah. Kim Salt is thankful that the title is now fixed. Tina says, we knew this already, Stephen. Poor Victoria. Oh, look, if she comes in a minute, she's going to start telling you about her calf injury. And that's going to take the whole hour for her to start talking about that. So not only will we have Marcus who can talk, but Victoria who can talk. Honestly, I may as well just go and have my shower now. It is absolutely sweltering in here. 31 degrees Celsius, 31 and a half. So in the UK, that's ridiculous.
I'm toast.
It's, 85 Fahrenheit? Yoko says, really fun. She says, good entertainment. The thing is, Marcus has come all the way over here, and I think we need to ask him a few questions. If you've got any questions for Marcus, pop them in the chat. But I want to start really by saying, I want to ask how did you get involved with Zwift? Where did you first come across Zwift, and why? What possessed you to start running so regularly on the treadmill? Were you running on the treadmill a lot before Zwift? Or was it just Zwift that made you start running on the treadmill a lot? And why have you continued so vehemently to run every day around about 10 miles, most of that on the treadmill?
Stephen, these are fantastic questions. Thank you. I feel like I'm on a radio interview show or something. So it all goes back to a video I saw of Mr. Stephen Cousins talking about Zwift. That is legitimately how I found the app. I knew nothing about Zwift, but I was Googling and YouTubing. I think I was interested at the time in like ways to just automatically import runs into Strava and have it, have the data, because I don't have a smart treadmill or anything like that. So I was curious if there was a way through an app or something like that to basically be able to import the run into Strava. And so your video popped up talking about this thing called Zwift and how you could connect to it with Stride. Back then, we were using Stride Live, was the sort of like special way of the promotional way of connecting to Zwift or whatever. So I bought a Stride Live for like $99, and I started using it. I loaded up Zwift, I made an account, and I just really liked it. First of all, it solved my problem. Like, it was taking all the stuff that I was doing on the treadmill and putting it into Strava, so I had a nice record of what I was doing in terms of paces and stuff like that. But then more and more, I started to realize that there were events on here, there were races on here, there were group runs, all this stuff that kind of seemed interesting. And then when I subscribed to your YouTube channel, which I highly recommend everybody, if you haven't yet done so, please like this video and subscribe. I found the content that you were making very interesting. Because here you are, you're a guy on a treadmill, broadcasting to the world, talking to people while you do it. I thought that was pretty neat. So basically, I kind of fell into Zwift more or less accidentally, but only because I saw one of your videos. And I think the reason why I'm so sort of focused on treadmill stuff, although I do kind of run outdoors from time to time, not much, but sometimes I do, it's mostly injury prevention. Before I got a treadmill, I was getting injured all the time. Oh, really? So I was running like, 50, 60, 70 miles a week, but I would just get, like the story I was telling you about how I broke my foot at the Chicago Marathon, right? I was just getting injured a lot. And so I got a gym membership. I started running on the treadmill at the gym. And then I said, I want to do this at home. And so I mostly ran on the treadmill at the beginning just as an injury prevention kind of thing. Because I find that the pounding is a lot less. It's easier on your bones and muscles and stuff like that. But then over time, I started to realize I kind of like the treadmill. I know like lots of people don't like the treadmill. But I, for whatever reason, kind of just enjoy it. I'm not sure if it's the sort of monotony of it, or the fact that you can watch TV or do something like this while you do it. But I just really enjoyed being on a treadmill, and I didn't feel like I was missing a whole lot being on a treadmill relative to being outside. Furthermore, I also have lived in places where the weather can be kind of, tricky. So either very hot or really cold in the winter. And this basically eliminates those issues. Although I grant you today is very hot and gross in here. But for the most part, it's like your weather is a little easier to deal with. So in summation, to respond to your two queries, I think it's mostly accidental that I kind of found Zwift. And also I think that the reason I stuck around was because of the community that exists here, If it was just an app that gave me data about my treadmill runs, it would be useful. Like, I think that's a helpful thing to have. But I'm not sure I would be running quite as much. I'm not sure I'd be doing the workouts. I wouldn't be doing, the Tuesday workouts. Or the Wednesday workouts, sorry. Because those are miserable. I only do those because I know you're in misery with me. So, because I have that, and all the fine folks on this run as well, it gives you a little extra kind of enthusiasm and ability to do a workout that you might not otherwise do. So that's kind of why I like it.
Kim Salt has a very straightforward question for you to answer. What brand of treadmill do you have? Let's see how long Marcus can talk about the brand of treadmill that he has.
Okay. So that is a straightforward question. Is a straightforward answer. Although I don't know the model number. So I have a Precor treadmill. Precor is a very good company. They make treadmills that are very high end for, gyms and corporate settings and things like that. I don't have one of those. I have one of the home kind of versions. But what I have found is that despite the fact that it's not one of their higher end machines, it is built like a rock. And perhaps more importantly, whenever I've had a problem, they fixed it for me basically free of charge. There was one time I had to pay for a part because that particular part was out of warranty, but it wasn't very expensive, and they installed it for free. And I've had the belt replaced, I've had the deck replaced, I've had the little elevator thing that makes it go up and down replaced, and it's been great. So I want to get a smart treadmill. I really like this. How do I turn on the view from above?
Press the right hand screen there.
Okay, this is very complicated.
Bottom left button arrow.
This one?
Yeah, does it say
video list overhead? Overhead. That one seems reasonable. Okay, so now presumably you guys can see. It's crashed.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so you can see my feet now, guys? I would like to get one of these guys, these smart treadmills that just automatically connect to Zwift. And I think I will do that, or will do, as the Brits say, once the Precor dies.
How are you finding it?
Oh, I love it. So Clive wants to know, how am I finding this treadmill? This is very nice. Now, I haven't really put it to the true test, yeah. Maybe at the end of this run I'll put it to the true test. But for right now, at this pace, it's been great. It's very soft. It's very solid. Doesn't slip at all. I like the length and I like the width. Sometimes on these treadmills you feel a little confined or a little kind of claustrophobic. This is not one of those situations. So yeah, I like this. I might get one of these.
So just going back.
Oh, whoopsie daisies.
Okay.
I'm breaking the shed quarters.
Right, treadmill's just smashed, broken. Everything's gone to pot. Marcus has just. I think the water got stuck in the. You've got another one on the other side. But yeah, when you get it out next time, hopefully it will be okay. So Marcus, yes, sorry. I was going to say. Marcus is getting used to the buttons. So, going back to your running on Zwift, when did you realise that you... Right, somebody start telling Marcus off now, because he's going to go mad on the buttons. we're going to be in trouble. When did you realise that you
suck?
were running the most miles on Zwift, and is that now something that keeps you motivated on Zwift to keep ahead of everyone else, like Simon Funnell, to keep running the miles on Zwift and be ahead of everyone else?
All right. So I'm not going to say that I obsess over this, but I do look at Simon Funnell's Strava every night before I go to bed, and every morning the first thing I do when I wake up is check it again. But I'm not being obsessive about it. No, to be honest with you, I had no clue that I was the number one runner on Zwift. I assumed, now this might be sort of like a cognitive bias or something, I assumed there were other kind of weirdos like me out there that did as much on Zwift as I did, or I do. But evidently that's not true, which shocked me. So I was a little surprised, because I actually don't, I mean, when you talk about these things, sometimes it sounds a little silly. I mean, I do run 70 miles a week, but to me, that's normal, right? So I don't think of that as being this like Herculean effort. There are people that run 200 miles a week. So I thought, there's surely got to be some, and Zwift is not on Zwift, but Zwift is a worldwide company, right? You can log in from Antarctica if you want. So I thought, surely there's somebody out there who has discovered this app and happens to be one of those people that just runs crazy numbers, like 140 miles a week, 150 miles a week. But evidently, they're not. Now, the one thing I would like, if I could talk to the Zwift developers, I think it would be nice to have some type of way to see who the next people are. Because as far as I know, the only way you come across these people is by seeing them running, and you sort of you notice their names or whatever. I think it would be nice to have something like a leaderboard. If they ever gave us more than level 21, that might be a way of doing it. But, some way to kind of understand if you are the leader or if people are catching up. Because if somebody's going to catch me, I'm going to run more. I will gladly run more just for the competitive, nature of it. I think that would be fun. But no, it doesn't drive my day-to-day existence.
So, you've already answered this. Kim says, how many miles a week do you run on Zwift? So Marcus runs about 70 miles a week. Now, what I want to know is, how do you break that down? So, does all of that happen on Zwift? Do you deliberately do interval sessions? Do you deliberately run slowly, or are you at threshold heart rate all the time? What is the structure to those 70 miles in a week?
Steven has a very nice training philosophy called 80-20, and I don't love it, only because I wish I had come up with it. And it's because I basically do, actually I'm gonna amend it. I more do like a 90-10. He does 80-20, I do 90-10. Now he says he probably does 90. Okay, then I do 95-5. The gist is this. You should spend, whatever that big number is, you should spend that percentage of your runs, or you could really define it in a couple different ways. Either the percentage of your runs, percentage of your miles, percentage of your time, however you want to think about it. I tend to think about it in terms of miles, but we can disagree on that. You should spend that large number running easy. And easy can be defined as, I think, sort of conversational type pace. Something where you're able to kind of do what I'm doing right now, which is more or less have a conversation, but you're not really all that winded. You might still get tired, because easy running, if you do enough of it, will tire you out. But you're not really stressing your body. You're not stressing your cardiovascular system too much. You're not stressing your muscles too much. You're not going crazy. Now within that, sometimes you can run like super, super slow, like it's almost like you're walking. And other times you might sort of go a little bit faster, but it's all relatively easy. And then the small number, the 20, or the 10, or in my case the 5%, is fast. And what I define fast as is basically faster than my sort of goal marathon pace. So if I'm trying to run a sub-3 marathon, which I take it Steven has never done before, well, I'll ask him about that at some point. But if I'm trying to run a sub-3 marathon, I want to average like 650 or so per mile. So anything under that, I consider to be fast. So if I'm doing like a workout where I run 3 by 5K at 6:35 per mile, that's fast. And that might be the only fast work that I do for the entire week, because that's capturing that 10%. So my general philosophy in terms of running in general, and it also goes for things on Zwift as well, is that you should really be doing most of your running easy. So I basically agree entirely with Steven. So sometimes what I do is I'll go to the track and I'll do a hard workout outside, and that might be my only hard workout for the week. Other times, I'll do my hard workout on Workout Wednesday on Zwift, and that'll be my hard workout for the week. So it really doesn't matter to me where I do it, but I want to kind of keep below a certain number of miles that are fast, just because I think it fits with my training philosophy, and I don't want to overdo it, and I don't want to get injured.
Kim says, how many hours do you go 70 miles?
Kim wants to know how many hours do the 70 miles take. That is a very good question, actually. I think I usually do it in under 10 hours, so it's like probably, if I run, my average sort of daily run would be 10 miles in about like an hour and a half, if I'm just doing kind of a regular easy effort. So you figure for 2 days, that's 3 hours, 3 days, 4.5. So yeah, I mean, I think I probably am in the 7, 8, 9 hour territory. Now, some weeks I'll go and do a longer run. My brother was in town last week. We both signed up for the Ben Nevis Ultra Marathon, which I'm assuming is going to be a disaster. We can talk about that as well. So we were training for that a little bit. So we went out and did a 20-mile run, and we did it slowly, kind of easy, took walking breaks, stuff like that. So we were going for like 3 hours. So some weeks, it might be 11, 12, 13 hours that I'm running. But I think around 10 or under is basically what I do. So how do I decide if I'm going to run on Zwift? It's just a kind of intuition thing. Most mornings I wake up and I have my coffee and I want to run, and the first thought that pops in my head is go to my treadmill and run on Zwift. But sometimes I want to run outside. Or like on this trip, I didn't have access to a treadmill, so I've run outside for like 3 days in a row, which is like unprecedented.
Paul Hayward wants to know what's your favorite route.
What is my favorite? Okay, so Paul Hayward, that's an excellent question. I feel like the world of Richmond, Virginia on Zwift, basically from the beginning, has not gotten the love that it deserves. And what I mean by that is every time I load up Zwift and Richmond is there, which is not often, mind you, it's not often one of the choices, so already we're off to a bad start, but it's always dominated by cyclists. And I think it's because they have that special course. I mean, I don't pay attention to cycling, but we should have done it in Richmond, but you set it up, I didn't set it. So in any event, so I feel like I want to give Richmond, partially because I live there, basically, but I want to give Richmond some love. And my hope is that by doing my small part of running my runs in Richmond, I'm helping out Richmond as a Zwift world. So I don't have, well, first of all, Richmond doesn't have many routes because it doesn't really get much love, right? So it's basically just that one sort of downtown kind of loop. So I do that a lot. I also, and Tina Beard knows this, I also really like the track in Watopia, which sounds absurd, but the reason I like it is because there's always a lot of people. It's good to have, if you want to have runners, you go to the track, there's always going to be runners. Sometimes you go into Watopia, you don't see another runner for an hour, if you're out there in the north part.
Running Forest is from Woodstock, Virginia. He's just said hello. Sarah Jacobson says, I also love running on Richmond. So she's with you. And Professor Kim Salt says, you can tell he's a professor.
I am a professor. We were talking about this earlier today. I study international relations, and I'm mostly focused in diplomacy and thinking about the interactions that world leaders have and to what extent, these summits that they have and meetings that they have can make a meaningful difference in terms of the broader state-to-state relationship. So I think partially because of my profession, I do kind of like to talk when I have a microphone. So I recognize that I'm monopolizing the microphone. But on the other hand, that's why I'm here, right? I mean, you don't want to hear from Steven. It's like you hear from him every day. Right. So I would like to hear from Victoria at some point, though. I feel like this is, we gotta say hi to Victoria. But yeah. Victoria's gonna be running the donuts in the garden. Victoria, will you say hello?
Right, I'm just going to interject here. Victoria's going to say hello. Undoubtedly, she is going to mention the fact that she has a torn calf muscle and is not allowed to wait there for 2 weeks. I do not want to see, particularly, this is Tina Beard and Sarah Jacobson, I do not want to see sympathy for Victoria in the chat, okay? She's garnering enough sympathy anyway. You lot just listen to what she's got to say and leave it at that. Just
Hello all, I'm not going to tell you about my torn calf muscle or the fact that I'm on crutches or the fact that I'm miserable that I can't run. But what I will tell you is this is highly entertaining tonight.
Right, Kim Salt. Sorry, I should have included Kim Salt in that. Kim Salt says, "Oh no, how awful." Look, I will just tell you. So we did a race on Wednesday, a local. We call it the West Sussex Fun Run League down here, and so we ran for our running club the other night, and it's a race with a very steep, fast downhill at the end. And Victoria went a bit too fast, having tight calf muscles from the 50k mountain race that we did on Sunday. Victoria ran a bit too hard on the downhill and tore her calf muscle slightly, but then proceeded to carry on walking on her foot and made it worse. So she went to the hospital today, and she now has crutches and cannot wait there for 2 weeks. It's lucky that she doesn't have any races until Beachy Head Marathon in October. Victoria got roundly told off by the hospital. Sarah Jacobson says, "I will give her every ounce of sympathy I can muster." Quiet you, she says. It is still hot in here. It's still 31 degrees Celsius, 40% humidity. We are running through the streets of London on Zwift, live on the Zwift Run Channel with Marcus, Holmes. John Freeze says hashtag mic time for Victoria. She's had her mic time, that's it. She's not getting any more. Clive Finnemore says sorry to hear that, Victoria. Speedy recovery. Kim Salt says fun run and calf ripper. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a fun run and a not so fun run. Yeah, ironic that she did the most technically difficult race of her life and didn't get injured, and then runs down a grassy bank and tears her calf. Typical. Anyway, so we are well over halfway now, 35 minutes. Marcus wants to go another hour. In this heat, I am quite happy to finish in 25 minutes. So we've discovered how Marcus found Zwift. We know why he runs on Zwift, why he loves the community. It suits his lifestyle, it suits his job to run on the treadmill a lot, and injury prevention. We probably want to know a little bit more about, we know that you study international relations. Why do you come over to England or Scotland quite a lot? You regularly travel over here, which is surprising. We've never actually met before. But Marcus is regularly travelling between the UK and the US.
To infinity and beyond.
So what is that all about, and where do you see your career developing over the next few years?
Where do I see my career developing? Oh, this is like a job interview. I like it. Okay. How much time do we have? 24 minutes. Okay. So, a couple different things. First of all, my brother and his wife, Garrett and Marcy, I think they're watching now, so hi, Garrett and Marcy. They used to live over here. So they lived in London for several years. And so one of the reasons I would come over regularly and got to know places like Richmond Park, got to run in some of the park runs and things like that was simply that they were over here, and I'd come over to visit, and sometimes would time those trips with my work trips. The reason I come to the UK a lot for work, now this is going to bore many of you, so I will try to keep this short and sweet. But there's two dominant ways to study international relations. Oh, look at the number of viewers just dropped precipitously. Okay. There's two, we can edit this part out later, right? Yeah, so there's two dominant ways to study international relations. One is from a sort of American social scientific perspective, which tends to be highly quantitative in nature, very much focused on sort of the science of international relations. In other words, you develop a hypothesis, you go out and find some data, you test your data, etc. And that's all fine and good. I like that. I like doing that myself. But in the UK, and also in Europe, and more generally, there's another approach which tends to be a little bit more kind of theoretical, a little bit more historical, a little bit more interpretive. And what I mean by that is scholars in the UK are often skeptical that you can study social behavior in a scientific way. So, Stephen, I think you would agree, humans are a little different than chemicals in a beaker or objects falling from a tree that you could study in sort of a classical physics sense, right? Yeah. We're just different. We're complicated. We have consciousness. We have emotions. We have moments of time when we're rational, moments of time where we're irrational. It's not always easy to know which one's going to happen. And so I tend to kind of view social life in general, but also international relations more specifically, through the lens of the way that people in the UK and Europe tend to view it. So, if I haven't lost you already, and I recognize I probably have lost many of you already because you're terribly bored by this, I have hooked up with a colleague who's based at the University of Birmingham, and we've written a series of articles together on topics related to diplomacy. So mostly around the idea of face-to-face diplomacy, whether or not having these meetings and summits makes a difference, all that kind of stuff. And what we found is that while working over email and Google Docs and Zoom and Skype and Teams is beneficial, there really is no substitute for just sitting down like in a cafe or a pub and working together in the same room. And so what I did on this trip was I came over, I did some archival work in London at the Kew Archives, looking up some documents for the book we're writing. And then I wrote with my co-author over the course of 2 days a good chunk of the book. It's amazing what you can get done, like just sitting down and actually working, with somebody else in the room. And so I use these trips as a way to kind of get some work done, develop relationships, and kind of be with my people. My theoretical people. My people that look at her. I'll give you the microphone in a second. Sorry, it's the mic. I'm getting the message. It's like at the Oscars when the band starts playing. Come on. Right. Okay, you're worried that we're going to run out of time? That's why we need another hour. So I come over here to be with my people, sort of metaphorically in the social science sense, but now I'm here with my people in the very physical sense. I know that was a little hokey, but that's kind of like what, one of the things that... So I knew I was going to be here over a weekend. Let's take the train down to Worthing and see the shed quarters.
So are you saying... Oh no! Oh yes!
Oh, the second
Come
one.
on!
What is going on? Okay, I don't like this treadmill anymore.
Right, this is brilliant. So Marcus has smashed the second cup holder. He's dropped the cup. There's water all over the treadmill. We are going to drown in shed quarters. Victoria has got to hop over now to get the water from spilling all over the floor. The electrics are going to short out. We are going to go off air. Right, look, what I was going to ask...
Now we also don't have any water.
You don't have any water now. You're stuck. You're stuffed.
Okay, let's go.
I was going to ask then, does that mean that in some ways you feel a bit like a Brit? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I like many of the things that you do over here. So, for example, I'm in love with fish and chips. And I hope we have some tonight because I really love fish. So, like a Brit, I eat a lot of fish and chips. But seriously, yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to, again, I don't want to bore you because this is, tell me if this is boring to you. And I can talk about movies, you can tell some jokes.
About running in a minute.
Okay, so I do think that the way international relations scholarship developed over here is the way that I would, if I was starting from scratch, kind of creating the study of international relations, I would do it the way that the Brits did it, right? So I would kind of start from this very historical perspective, this theoretical perspective. I wouldn't start thinking of it as a science. Now, that's very controversial, and many of you probably disagree with that, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But I wouldn't approach the study of what is ultimately a social, behavioral kind of thing. It's people deciding to go to war. It's people deciding to trade, right? It's people deciding all of these things. I wouldn't necessarily think that the way to study that is through hypothesis testing and quantitative data analysis. I'm not saying that that's not useful, though. And I do a lot of that work myself. It's just that from my own perspective of what drives international politics, it's a personal, very personal kind of endeavor that these leaders undertake. And I'm just not sure you can get at that through hypotheses. What are we laughing at?
I'm laughing at Victoria opening in on the Victoria, thank you.
Victoria's got him some more water. She's hobbled into the kitchen.
Yeah.
She's hobbled back, but he's got nowhere to put the water now. No, you put it on here. Marcus, put it on there. Put it on there. So Marcus is wearing two tops and is absolutely dripping in sweat now. Okay, so Marcus, look, right, Marcus thinks we're going on for another hour. So Victoria put, Marcus, what does your family think of you running on Zwift? And what does your family think of your celebrity status on Zwift? And then I know that you're not going to give me back the microphone for another 10 minutes, so I'm going to ask you also, tell me about your running in the future. What races have you got planned? What things do you want to achieve as a runner that you haven't yet achieved?
All good questions, Stephen. Mr. Cousins. So, when Stephen set up this run today, this event, this inaugural event, he posted to Facebook that we're going to have the legend, Marcus Holmes, in the shed quarters for a visit. The legend. Now, I've never been called a legend in my life. And I understand that in Britain, to be called legend is like kind of a big deal, right? This is like not actually like an inconsequential thing. Yeah.
Paul Hayward says, I would ask Marcus about p-values and sig levels, but I'd better not.
So Paul, yeah, exactly, Paul. P-hacking, right? P-hacking. It's a thing, okay? Now, my critique of this stands whether you're p-hacking or not. I still think even when you do social science well, from a scientific perspective, from a quantitative perspective, you run into problems, okay? So even when you do it well, but I take your point, yeah. So, look, it's hard to boil down very complicated epistemological and methodological debates in 15 minutes when you're running on a treadmill and it's 30 degrees Celsius and 41% humidity. So it's difficult to do. But hopefully I made my main point, which is that I'm just more aligned, I think at this moment, and that might change, but I think I'm aligned right now with the kind of UK way of theorizing. So in any event, I was called a legend, and I've never been called a legend in my life. So I showed this to my wife. I showed this to my brother who happened to be in town, his wife, and we all thought that was delightful. So I'm like, I need to go be with my people. I need to represent. I need to give them what they want, and so that's why I'm here. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fun being a Zwift legend. I mean, I wouldn't trade this for anything. This is great. I wish my XP level was a little higher. Just, 21. You're 21 for crying out loud. Like, it's not,
In XP level, Marcus, we are equals. We are equals, and you don't want that, do you? I can see the hatred in your eyes.
It's totally unfair. So, Yeah, I'm an equal with Victoria too. Now that one I'll accept. I'll accept being equal with Victoria because I think that's legitimate. But this one, no.
You're running.
Yeah, okay. So he wants to keep me moving on here. So I think that to close it out, I do like being a legend. That would be my synopsis of that.
Amy Green says hello, everyone.
Hi, Amy. Hope you're doing well. We're not. We're very sweaty, very hot in here, but we're getting through it. So my future plans. I decided at the beginning of the year that I wanted to do another ultra marathon, and I wanted to make it kind of a hard one. And so when I saw Steven post his video about Ben Nevis, the previous one where he failed to finish, we can talk about that in a second. I saw him post that video and I said, that looks like a very difficult race, a big challenge, and I knew Steven was going to sign up for it, and I knew that he was going to be very motivated to finish, and I thought to myself, if I could just kind of stay with him, now I probably won't be able to, but if I could just stay with him and kind of just like never leave his sight, I might be able to finish it as well, assuming that third time is a charm for Steven. So I signed up, and I really did it on a whim. And I actually texted my brother that day and said, hey, you want to run the Ben Nevis Ultra Marathon with me? And he said, yeah, sure. So we actually both signed up, kind of not knowing what we were getting into.
Not dragging you and your brother across the
Right, yeah. Steven's not going to drag both of us, so sorry, Garrett. But I'm sort of looking forward to it because I know it's just going to be pure misery. It's going to be awful. And I look forward to those types of challenges because they're actually, not that running a marathon is easy, but I think trying to do something that's just so objectively difficult. Climbing 13,000 feet, biggest mountain in the UK, terrible weather, rock scrambling. It's just so unknown. And so that really appeals to me. So I signed up thinking, let's just give it a shot. And that's where my mental space is at the moment. I just want to give it a shot. I don't have any illusions. I know this is going to be incredibly difficult. I know I might not finish. I know I might not get past checkpoint 1. But I'm going to go and try. And even if it's a failure, look, you go to Scotland, you get to go around a mountain for a little bit. That's not so bad.
I think realistically, the Ben Nevis Ultra, if you have to be quick, but Marcus, you are quick. And I think if you're on sub 3 marathon form, then you've got every chance as long as your head is in the game and your legs are playing ball, then you've got every chance of meeting the cutoffs for that race. And I think the reasons that I haven't done in the 2 times that I've tried is complacency more than anything. But you do need to be, at least a 3:10, 3-hour marathon runner to be able to have the speed to get to the cutoffs in time.
I hope that's right. I hope I have enough of this sort of just the speed. But I don't know. I'm nervous. I was telling Steven earlier today, in his second video, the second failure video, he says at the very beginning, I'm nervous. And I told him, I'm nervous in July. He was nervous the morning of the thing. I'm going to be nervous for months leading into this thing. So maybe that's good. Maybe that'll get me to, I don't know, kind of mentally be prepared for what's to come. I'm not sure. But if nothing else, I'm looking forward to the trip. I'm looking forward to seeing the mountain. I'm looking forward to the camaraderie and the spectacle of it all, and being there with Steven and everybody else, my brother. So I think it'll be fun no matter what. I just hope I get past the first checkpoint. In terms of other goals, I would like to run another. I know we're gonna talk about Berlin probably at some point today, although we only have 9 minutes left. That's unfortunate. Okay, we've made an executive decision. We're gonna at least do 10K, so that's good. So I would like to also train seriously again for a sub 3 endeavor, because I think that's fun. That's a good goal to have. As many of you know, that's just a very difficult, even for very good runners, it's a very difficult thing to do, because you have to be well trained, have to stay healthy. Frankly, you have to have a little bit of luck. You have good weather. I've had some marathons recently where the weather has just been too hot, It's not my day. So you need a little luck. But I would like to try to do another sub-3 marathon at some point, which I know also Steven is aiming to do, I think, in Berlin. Is that right?
Yeah, so, I'm going to try for have I told you I did do a sub-3 marathon once? Yeah, I did, yeah. I know, I don't really talk about it very much, and not many people know about it, but I have done a sub-3 marathon once. So but I'm going to try for it again in Berlin in September. Mark Samuel says, this is great, guys. Keep up the good work. What time do you hope for the Ben Nevis Ultra? And Stephen, what's your target time for Lakeland? So Lakeland, I would be absolutely over the moon if I can do Lakeland in under 30 hours. Ben Nevis, I've just got to get under the cutoff, which is, what is the cutoff? Is it 10 or 12? Do you know what? I can't even remember. See, this is how complacent I was. I can't even remember what the cutoff is for Ben Nevis. Maybe it's, oh dear, 11 hours. I'd like to do it in 11 hours. Let's put that. Right, Kim Salt says I now owe money. No, I don't owe money because Paul Deering hasn't messaged me. So, no, Kim Salt is not one of the treasurers. Paul Deering is the treasurer of the sub-3 comments money. Oh yeah, Marcus is also, Kim Salt is also a level 21, so essentially, Kim Salt, you are as good a runner as Marcus Holmes on Zwift. Now I've lost my train of thought, so basically I'm just going to give the microphone back to Marcus and he will talk at you some more. But we are gonna go to at least 10k, so we've got, what, 5 minutes left? 7 minutes left of the event, but we're going to run to at least 10 kilometers, although Marcus is already going faster than that anyway.
So, Steven, how do I do the thing where it shows people what they're looking at? Like, these are the other riders, this is the time, you know, it points the arrows. What button do I press for that?
Oh,
I like learning this system. Oh, this is a difficult one. That says you suck on it.
One that says arrows, there you go.
Oh, arrows. Okay, let's do it. I've been wanting to do all of these. Let's see if that works. Did I crash it?
Yeah, it'll start up again.
Oh.
It's because there's so much sweat in here. It's just...
Arrows. No, oh, bummer. Oh, man, I was looking forward to the arrows. Yeah. I've broken the shirt. I don't... So, Victoria, do you think they'll let me return this now? I still have the tag on it. Steven, you have an in at Zwift. Do you think they'll take it back? Maybe I'll just wear it. It's okay. Yeah, so in the time we have remaining, you know, let's do a little AMA. Anything you guys want to know? You want to talk about politics? I'm happy to do that. That's what I study for a living. Did we get an answer on who won Wimbledon today?
No, I don't think anybody's told us.
I expect Djokovic to win tomorrow, but I will say Nick Kyrgios is a very dangerous player. And if he's having a good day, I think he could bother Djokovic emotionally, mentally, but then also on the court. Because Kyrgios has a lot of weapons. So I actually expect a reasonably close. I'm going to say Djokovic in 4. Djokovic in 4. But I think it's going to be a close 4. I think the sets are going to be close. Now, there is a possibility that Kyrgios just gets blown off the court very quickly because he's not there, he's not invested, etc. I also think, this might be controversial, a lot of people say that Nick Kyrgios would be better if he took the game more seriously. If he trained harder, if he got rid of some of the antics, he was more professional. I completely disagree with that. I think his nonchalant attitude is precisely what allows him to be so good. I think he has this ability to just kind of brush stuff off precisely because he doesn't care. And if he cared, my worry is that he would actually overthink it and not be as good. So that might be a counterintuitive hypothesis, but I'm sticking by it.
Right, Marcus, are you Harris?
Oh, hang on. No, I don't want to give up the microphone. Yes, Sarah Jacobson, yes. We've already booked our Airbnb. I have registered for the race. I need to get a doctor's note, I understand. What's that about, by the way? You just fake it. This is on the internet. You can't say that.
Yeah, I didn't say that. You just said it.
You just... I didn't realize. Hashtag microphone for Steven. Actually, maybe not. Okay, so...
Victoria is really good.
Okay, so no one fakes it. But it's an interesting rule. I mean, it's French... Oh, it's French law. I've never seen that before with another race. How is the doctor supposed to know? I mean, what do they... Like, if you have, like, some sort of congenital heart condition... I mean, it's tricky. Yeah, so anyway, I need to get that. Oh no, Paul Deering, Treasurer is always watching. I need a large calculator to add up your fines. See, this is why I told Steven this should not go on the internet. What we should do is, we should film it, and then just erase it. Because we would have fun doing it, and then we're the only ones that knew that it happened. Or maybe we can just edit out all the controversial bits.
See, that's Paul Deering is always watching.
Yeah, Paul Deering's watching. I cannot believe that Steven did this for 100 miles. Not so much the running. No, not the script, but not so much the running, the talking. Like, I can't talk that much. I mean, I can't talk that much. I'm doing it, but it's difficult. And to do this for 100 miles? You did take some breaks. I mean, there were moments where you were quiet, but for the most part, you were kind of talking. I would be in such a bad mood after like 2 hours. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. So I have a question. Where's Tim Gross? Tim Gross used to join us on these runs. He would have the little camera. Now all he does is post videos about shoes and backpacks and stuff. What's going on there?
I think he's become disillusioned. He likes his outdoor running too much. He's found his little niche in buying hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes, which he can afford to do, and reviewing them on YouTube. And his Zwift running has taken a bit of a back seat, I fear. So yeah, we don't see so much of Tim Gross on Zwift these days. But listen, thank you everyone. By the way, we're now at 58 minutes. The event officially ends in 2 minutes, but we are going to carry on going just for a little bit longer.
We'll continue.
Marcus is going to refuse to get off the treadmill. A bit like Boris Johnson. Everyone is telling him to go. Marcus refuses to leave. So yeah, we're going to go to. I'm going to go to at least 10k. I don't know where I am now. What am I on now, Marcus?
5.5 miles.
5.5 miles. So that's another half a mile or so of running at least. But thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for taking part in the run. Thank you for commenting on YouTube. Thank you for watching. And even if you haven't commented, thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for being part of this. It is the first time we've had anyone who isn't part of the Film My Run kind of inner circle. It's mind you, I consider you all part of the Film My Run inner circle, to be perfectly honest. But it is great. It's brilliant to have Marcus here. We're going to take Marcus out on the hills tomorrow morning for a little hill run. So to show him the South Downs here in the UK. We've already been for a stroll on the seafront and had coffee in the cafe. And we're going to go and have fish and chips on the beach in a minute, once we've had a long, cold shower. Not together, I'd hasten to add. Oh, and he's got the arrows working now. Well done. That is our hour up. So I think Marcus is going to increase the speed and see if he can truly break the treadmill now.
What I'm curious is to see what this bad boy can do. I'm just gonna quickly. What's the highest I can do? 17, you said? 16.
20. But
oh, you think it'll break at 17?
17, it'll start. Feel it slipping onto your feet.
We wouldn't want the inaugural guest visit to break the treadmill. That would be very sad. Let's see what 14 feels like. I'm just curious.
You'll be able to feel it start to slip onto your feet.
I see. Oh, this is nice. This is 6:53. Right, so this is, okay, so 14 is basically sub-3 marathon pace.
From the guy from Virginia.
Oh, Virginia!
Says goodbye.
Thank you, bud. Thanks for tuning in.
We don't make it. Any ideas of the
Bowflex? Never run on that one.
Never run on that.
Thank you, Nikki. Great run. Sarah, how far are you going? You're gonna do 10K? Okay. I like this treadmill.
Tell Kim I still haven't had it fixed.
See you, Sarah. This is nice. This is a very nice treadmill.
Yeah, I mean, when it's
Yeah. Right. This is good. Can I try the incline? Okay.
Sarah Jacobs says, I think braking with treadmills is hilarious and on brand.
Yeah, it's warm. I came to the UK thinking it was going to be like chilly compared to Virginia. This is actually quite warm, especially in the shed quarters. Okay, so Steven. No, I gotta do donuts after. Should I do donuts? I should probably start the donuts. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'll show you the donut technique. So, I'm gonna get the, on the Zwift Companion app.
Yoko says, thank you very much, Marcus. Very good.
Thank you, Yoko. Thanks for tuning in. Here we go. Donut time. So basically, I just kind of wear out this turnaround button. Press it over, over, and over. No, it's fun. I like it. There's something about this that's very soothing. I think everybody would agree. It really confuses Zwift, though, because then the Zwifters nearby changes each time.
Yes.
Because I'm running in one direction and then quickly the other. Yeah, see? This treadmill is fantastic, actually. So, what can people look forward to next for you, Steven? What are you next going to be on? Is it Film My Run, the 500 on Monday morning? Today's Saturday. Because normally at the end you like to say what's coming. Okay, I'll let you know the details.
Okay, so we are pretty much done here. Marcus is doing his end of run donuts as he always does, except this time it's live in shed quarters. Kim Salt says, oh yeah, I thought the treadmill was fixed. At least yours did not have burnt wires. No, it just needs a replacement deck. That's all, and it's just me mentally getting used to the idea of parting with that amount of money. Especially when I was saying to Clive yesterday, I really don't get up to those speeds on the treadmill all that often. So when I run like 95, 96, 97% of my running at slow pace, it seems like a waste of money to get a treadmill fixed that isn't broken at those slow speeds. But Marcus is now going to push it a bit. Kim wants to know if we're doing ZRS. I suppose if you push me, I could do a ZRS tomorrow afternoon. What time is the last ZRS tomorrow? That's the question. I'll have a look at when the last ZRS is, Kim, tomorrow, and I'll see if I can maybe do one tomorrow afternoon. And I've now lost my train of thought again. I can't remember what I was doing. Oh yes. So this week, we are rounding off. I'm rounding off 150 kilometers of running. Not all of it on Zwift by any stretch. So next week I've got to do 160 kilometers in my build up to Lakeland 100. And a lot of that will be on Zwift, and we'll be starting on Monday afternoon, Monday evening with the ZLDR FMR Pack MHG community run at 6:30 UK time, as Marcus pushes the treadmill up now to 15.5 kilometers an hour, 15.6 now. No slipping as yet, so he's doing okay. Tina Beard is finished. Thank you, Tina. Kim Salt says ZRS is short, so as long as there is one late tomorrow afternoon, I don't mind doing a short ZRS tomorrow afternoon. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. We'll stay on just for the moment, just while Marcus gets this speed out of his system and the donuts out of his system around Trafalgar Square in London. start to slip a bit. Like 17.
Yeah, so far so good, or 15.9. I haven't sweated this much since the Video 5K Christmas edition with the Christmas sweater. All right, I'm going back down. Too sweaty for this. All right, guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. It was lovely chatting with you all. Steven, you want to send them home?
Okay, everyone. Tell you what, can you press the button that says end for me? Top, middle. That's it. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for chatting. Mark Samuel says, thanks, guys. This has been great to listen to. Sat outside with a beer in hand. I must get back on Zwift soon. Been outside running most of the time. Well, you know, you are forgiven because it is a lovely day here and it has been nice and it is going to continue to be nice for a few days yet. Yoko, thank you for the ride on. Marcus, you are truly a legend. Lovely to hear and see you, says Tina. Kim says, this was fun. Thank you, Marcus. So maybe one day, again, we will have Marcus on the live stream when he comes over, because, like we said, Marcus is a fairly regular visitor to the UK, so now he's been here once, he is more than welcome to come plenty more times. We are going for fish and chips on the beach after we've had our shower. Paul Hayward says, thanks, this was a momentous run. So, like, final word to Marcus.
Oh, look at that. Buttons are happening. I just want to thank everybody once again. This has been delightful. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Victoria. Victoria, especially with the crutches. Crazy. Thanks for all the hospitality. And I hope this is the first of many visits, and I will be back soon. See you guys. See you again from my basement.